Hi there, I'm Beth Stefaniak from messymarriage.com, and I am here with my hubby Gary. Well, Gary by proxy, how about that? Some of you know that Gary's a little camera shy, but the reason he's not in this video is because our schedules are so busy. It's hard to really make time for something like this. So he will be in some of the videos going forward, but today I've got my trusty sidekick, Gary by proxy, to kind of give his 2 cents worth here and there. So today we're talking about some of the questions that people posed to us back in the spring, and I kind of took a break. Today I'm talking about one husband's question. He says, my wife considers me unsentimental and detached, and that's a problem because she feels it's a value judgment on her more feeling nature. The truth of the situation is that I've had experiences that have overloaded my ability to bear or show sentiment, and only through careful application of meditative techniques and control of reactions can I avoid the one last straw of sentiment that could be the killing blow to my soul. I walk a fine line, but there's no way to help a person who hasn't been there to understand what it was and is like. So what I'm getting from that question is that it's difficult for him to be vulnerable and show these tender emotions because he's learned in times of combat, I know a little bit about his background, to kind of numb himself. I do know that he has also been diagnosed with PTSD. So this is a common problem for a lot of veterans who've been in a combat situation, but it's also very common for people who have been in traumatic situations, abusive situations in their past, where they've learned to cope with the pain of that by numbing their feelings. So part of this problem, I feel like, needs to be addressed from the wife or the spouse's perspective. She needs to learn to accept that this is really too difficult to, like he said, sort of a breaking point for him if he goes too deep in his emotions. It just brings up all those other emotions that have been kind of blocked and suppressed. So part of it is acceptance on her part. But the other part of it is something that I feel like, a couple of things actually, that I think he could do. One thing is, if they have at dinner time some conversation, maybe share one emotion that they had in that day. Sometimes just talking about emotional, how we've been affected by different things in our day can be enough of a connection for that spouse who longs for that emotional sharing and disclosure. If that's not enough, then I think the second thing would be maybe to write a love letter to that spouse. I think a lot of times it's so much easier to convey how we feel in written form. And I know in this case with this particular person that he's an eloquent writer, and so that could be a really great gift that he gives his wife if he's willing to do that. What do you think, Gary? He thinks the same. Yeah, he thinks that would be a great idea. If you have other questions for us, Gary will be back in the saddle with me, and we will be talking about what we think should be a way to deal with that. I hope you'll send them our way. And thanks so much for listening to me at Messy Marriage and coming back by. Thanks again.